In the U.S. state of Arizona, there lived a farmer named Scott, who owned the best farm in the state. His crops were exceptional, and people from all over would come to buy his produce. Giant pumpkins, perfect cucumbers, tomatoes, and a variety of fruits and vegetables. Everything was of the highest quality. Whenever people asked how he grew such fine crops, the old farmer would always give the same answer. It was all thanks to his scarecrow, Alfred.
I owe everything to that scarecrow, thanks to Alfred.
The old man would say.
Neither birds, insects, nor rodents come near my crops.
Farmer Scott had made Alfred himself. He spent months crafting him to be as terrifying as possible, knowing that only a truly frightening scarecrow could keep pests away for good. Alfred had long, broken arms, stretching nearly 2 meters in length, and spindly legs to match. But the most horrifying part was his head, a grotesque face carved from an enormous pumpkin. Even the old farmer sometimes shuddered at the sight of his creation, but Alfred was incredibly effective at his job. Nearby, there was a smaller farm owned by 2 young brothers, Josh and Garrett. The brothers were lazy and didn't take proper care of their farm, so their harvest was never very good. Jealous of Scott's success, the brothers hatched a plan. They wanted to ruin him, then buy his farm so they could reap the rewards of better crops. One night, the brothers decided to act. They snuck into the old farmer's yard and stole his prized scarecrow, Alfred. They took him home and hid him in an old wardrobe where no one would find him. The next morning, when Scott awoke, he discovered that his terrifying creation had disappeared and his entire crop had been destroyed. He fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face, knowing that without Alfred, he was facing ruin. The brothers, watching from their farm, couldn't contain their laughter. Scott heard their laughter and approached them, asking if they had any idea what had happened to Alfred. The brothers looked him in the eye and lied, saying they had no clue where the scarecrow might be.
You know I'll go bankrupt and have to sell my farm.
Josh chuckled and said,
That sounds like your problem, doesn't it?
I wouldn't want to be in your shoes.
Garrett added with a sneer. The old farmer turned and walked back to his home, head hanging low, tears still falling as he realized his farm would soon be gone. That night, Josh and Garrett struggled to sleep, not from guilt, but because they couldn't shake the image of Alfred's terrifying pumpkin face. They decided they couldn't sleep while that hideous scarecrow was in their home. Garrett grabbed a baseball bat and smashed Alfred's pumpkin head to pieces. The room was littered with pumpkin shards. The brothers cleaned up the mess, took the trash outside, and returned to their beds. This time, they slept soundly, no longer haunted by the thought of the scarecrow. But after midnight, they were awakened by a strange noise. Someone, or something, was pounding on their door, trying to get in.
Did you forget to let the dog in?
We don't have a dog.
Josh replied with trembling voice. Suddenly the door creaked open. In the small gap, they saw one hay-filled hand, then another. The brothers were frozen with fear, unable to move, as the headless scarecrow slowly approached them. All they could do was watch in horror as Alfred came closer and closer. Garrett felt the cold, straw-filled hand grab his leg, and he screamed as loud as he could. He begged his brother for help, but Josh was already running out the door. Josh ran as fast as he could, not daring to look back, screaming at the top of his lungs. As he passed their neighbor's house, he saw the old farmer standing by the gate, a strange smile on his face. Josh kept running, but in his panic, he tripped over a large tree branch. When he turned around, terror gripped him even more. Alfred was right behind him, slowly closing the distance. But that wasn't the worst part. The scarecrow had a new head, and it looked exactly like his brother's.
No.